The unity and strength of the Government of National Unity has had another big test this week. We speak to Mr. Gayton McKenzie, the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture. He was in the thick of all the drama and he is with us now. Welcome, Minister.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Chris. It's always a great honor to be on BizNews. Yeah, we had our biggest test for me since joining the GNU this week. And if you ask me how did we do, I say we passed that test with flying colors. Budgets are usually the things that pull governments apart. That brings governments down. And if you don't need to go far, just look at Germany, for instance. They couldn't agree on a budget and they want to have elections. South Africa must be proud because what I've seen this week, I've seen people that differ respectfully. I've seen people that come with different views, but with one aim, which is the people. The people. And the people not just being the people on the ground, it is all the people of South Africa. Not only business people, but the people on the ground. Not only people on the ground, but it was a bouquet of ideas that was put on the table. And it's very easy to blame the finance minister for the 2% VAT hike. But I think that's unfair towards him. And I'll tell you why I'm saying that. All of us cabinet ministers, all of us are asking for more money. Now he came back and he said, all right, should we look at this as an option? He didn't come to Parliament and say, this is what it's going to be. He says to us, what do you guys think? And we now must come with ideas and not just criticize and say, no, we don't want that. What is on the other side of it? That's what the president asked us. What's on the other side of it? What is on the other side of the coin? If you're not going to do this, you are ministers, you are leaders, come with ideas. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to come with ideas. But I want to say to people that I got worried when I saw immediately after this whole fiasco that the rand is taking a dive and the DA is beating the chest and say they're the ones that stopped it. Now, what they're basically saying is that they said we are fighting for your inside. Against who? Because we are one government. You can't fight against each other. Now, when you start saying, I'm fighting for you inside, I stop the VAT, you are saying the other side, which includes the Patriotic Alliance, which includes the DA, Good, Freedom Front Plus. We wanted VAT. That's what you're basically saying without saying it in so many words. So I had to come out and set the record straight. I had to come out and say, it's a blue lie. And they know that. And it's a lie. We shouldn't play with those type of lies. Every minister in this cabinet was not for the 2% VAT. But now it's wrong to go out. And not only are you hurting other parties that's supposed to be your partners, but you are also hurting the country. Because, and I'm putting now my businessman hat on. If I read something like that, like, oh, no, I better get my money out of there. The DA says these guys want to go this way. Now they're no longer together. The DA must understand they're no longer opposition. PA is no longer opposition. We are together. It's a lie. We were together there. We were not for it. We've been given opportunity to go back and to come with ideas. Hence the postponement, which we all agreed on. As parties. So we mustn't do that. And I want to warn leaders. The world looks at the GNU. This is the last hope. After this, people can say things like, oh, maybe you're excited for the GNU, you're excited for Blue Lives. I am the least excited there because this is my everyday life. I don't drive myself. I live in 5-star hotels. So it's not what they call maybe the perks. What perks? The issue is the country. The country must come first. And for me, we've passed this week with flying colors. I mean, I listened to John giving a great speech about why we should not, the best I've ever heard him give, why there should not be a VAT increase. John Stevenson from the DA. So we are together. I listened to a guy like Ramakhupa speaking with absolute clarity and passion and intellectualism, speaking clearly on the matter. So let us not, people look at the GNU. Chris, I was in London And I was there for rugby meetings. And I was asked that there's 12 billionaires that is specifically requesting to see me for lunch. I was like, why me? When I asked them why me, they said no, they knew they're going to get the unvarnished truth. I said, okay. And what they wanted to know from me is how strong is this GNU? I said, I'll tell you on one condition. If I can also ask you a question at the end. They agreed. So I explained the GNU to them. I explained how when times when it looks a bit difficult, there's a skill that President Ramaphosa has where he brings us all together again. So now he does it. He will even calm me down and say, no, you are wrong, Minister McKenzie. You are wrong, Minister of the ANC. Because he's made us believe we are not ANC or PA or thing there. We are cabinet ministers, which that's how it should be. And when I said to the people in this billionaires in London, I explained to them and they bought the story that I was giving them, which was the truth. They then came back and I said, now I must ask you a question. Why did you ask me this and why did you want to see me? And they were very honest with me. They said, the tax system in the in the UK, what's happening in the UK is very anti-progress. They are thinking of coming back to South Africa and they wanted to meet with me. They've looked at it. They didn't think the GNU will last. They are now more than ever convinced it will last. So to all the politicians, I want to say this, as leaders, and I'm including myself in it, because I sometimes fall fool to the very same behavior that I'm warning against now. I'm also guilty, is that the GNU is sacrosanct to the future of South Africa. On the other side of the coin, you don't even want to think it will be Armageddon if this GNU fails. If this GNU fails, I am leaving this country. I'm telling you now because I know what will happen to this country. We dare not fail the GNU. We dare not fail because I'm not going to sit here and see South Africa going to the ground. You know, this is not a time for ideology and what you believe in for to test with socialism or communism or to test with different sort of economic models. We have a workable model. We are coming together. To all the leaders, we need to restrain ourselves from beating our chest and then making the GNU looks bad. Let us for once put the GNU before Patriotic Alliance, before the African National Congress, before the Democratic Alliance, just for once, because your party will not be there if the GNU fails. We are a great country with great people. Let's do it.
Minister, you have also met with AfriForum. Please tell us what you managed to agree on and what you disagreed on.
First, I was very annoyed that people were telling me you must not meet with them. I don't get told what to do. AfriForum are South Africans. When you have South Africans complaining about something, instead of throwing them with stones, try to understand their point of view. You must listen to the other side. And none other than the great Nelson Mandela taught us that. Nelson Mandela met with Betsy Verwoerd. He met with Kobe Coetzee. He met with the Groot Crocodile, P.W. Botha. He met with them. Now we've learned from that. Now, Kali and them has a view of South Africa, which I don't have. And I met with them, and I wanted to understand. What we managed to agree on is one thing, that there's no white genocide. And everybody in South Africa knows there's no white genocide. You are a racist if you believe there's white genocide in this country. I'm telling you straight up, because I've seen people that's very educated, very successful in business, agreeing there's a white genocide. No, you're just a subtle racist that don't want to admit that. Even some of your viewers, I saw them saying, yeah, speak up about the white genocide. No, you are a closet racist. That's why you are saying there's a white genocide. White people in this country is not being targeted because they're white. White people are part of a broader problem of crime. We have a crime problem in South Africa. We have a serious violent crime problem which need to be dealt with decisively. Colored people, I'm a colored. Colored people die more than any other race in this country. Any other race. But we don't have the right to say there's a genocide against us and blame the state. farmers are being killed. White farmers, black farmers, Indian farmers are falling full to crime. But because the majority of white people are farmers, it might look like farmers are being killed, that white people are being killed. So we should not, for the sake of wanting to fit in, agree with narratives that can destroy this country. Because there's no white genocide in this country. In a genocide, Chris, you can go to Pick and Pay or to ShopRite now, Checkers, to go and buy your groceries without protection, without bodyguards. In a genocide, in an era of a genocide, you think you can do that? People must not come with what they wish to happen and then project it as reality. So I met with Kali AfriForum. I was criticized heavily, but I don't care about that because I believe that leadership is not only to listen to those that you agree with, but true leadership is to listen to those that you disagree with. And Americans must hear the truth. There's some Americans that generally believe that there's a genocide here.
Gayton, our foreign policy, which direction do you think the GNU will take it in the wake of recent developments?
I think there's some leaders, they just talk a lot of nonsense out here. That America must go to hell. You talk America should go to hell because you've got medical aid. PEPFAR, people will die. People will lose their jobs. As I'm speaking now with PEPFAR, we've got unemployed doctors, unemployed nurses. Now, if PEPFAR goes, which is 70% of our health HIV/AIDS budget, 17% of our HIV/AIDS budget, the fight against HIV/AIDS, how many more doctors will lose their jobs? How many more nurses? We should not be arrogant. Two wrongs don't make a right. America was wrong in telling us how they feel about us through Twitter, through X. I don't think that is right that the president of South Africa should read together with the Gayton McKenzie of how our second biggest trading partner feels about us. And America is wrong in that medium of the approach, no matter what the strategy behind it was. But I also think that we are wrong, and then you have the DA that has the foreign policy, PA has the foreign policy, different parties. We must now sit in the GNU and craft the new foreign policy, because I think we are in the best position ever. We don't have enemies. What a good position South Africa is in not to have enemies. Why are we going to make enemies? We must put South Africa first at all times. You mustn't come to me and say, no, you are our friend because we were together in the struggle. Everybody is our friend. Countries don't have feelings and shouldn't have. They should have policies. And policies, it's cold sometimes. I'll make you an example. When the Americans left Afghanistan, they only took Americans out of Afghanistan. There was babies on the tarmac which they left behind. You might think it's insensitive, but the country's responsibility is the people first. Our responsibility should be our people first. What works for us? PA wants nothing to do with countries like Iran. And I'm unapologetic about that. Other parties might want nothing to do with Israel. And it's their right to be unapologetic about that. But that's not our policy. We are different parties. And I think we need to get together and craft a new thing. As far as America is concerned, I just think that the president should, as he said he's going to do, he should send a strong delegation to America to go and put our case forward. And also to say that we didn't like the way this got to us. But there's no white genocide. We don't intend. I just think the ANC handled this whole thing very badly about the expropriation bill. Most countries have the same bill, but the way they tried to frame it was very clumsy, I can tell you, at the worst. It backfired But most countries have that bill. You can't, I always make the example that we bought land in Northwest, but we bought 2 parcels of land. The land in the middle belonged to a white uncle that passed on. He didn't have a will, or they can't find him. Now we can't connect the land because this person has been dead for 40 years. And that's where the state must come in and say, we take this. I don't believe in expropriation without compensation. I believe in expropriation. There might be expropriation because how will you bring balance that black people and colored people and Khoisans also own land? But you must never expropriate without compensation. And people are scared to say that. The party I belong to don't believe in expropriation without compensation because I understand property rights. Once you lose property rights, you have no country left. I don't care which country you are. Once you lose property rights, there's no country. You can pack up and you can go. I am saying you can expropriate and pay people market value for their property. Pay them for their property, but don't come here and take people's property.
Gayton, lastly, how do you see the next election playing out after everything that's happened since the previous one?
Just before I answer that, there's one thing I forgot to say. I think we need to look after China and America as our 2 biggest trading partners. We need to make peace with them. We need to have an agreement with them. There's India. India is in BRICS and they are close with America also. We should do the same. And I hope that is what the GNU will sit soon around that issue. The next election, I can tell you, I'm usually writing these things, and Alec will tell you, I can tell you that what can stop Jacob Zuma is a tsunami. I said it. I was the only one that said it. I'm still saying it. People take a little fight between 2 people in a party, and then they act like it is the end of that party. All parties have quarrels in it, and that's nothing. The nucleus of the party is still steady. There's little quarrels that people now want to make. Oh, MK is breaking up because the secretary. No, we do that all the time in our party. We fire people, we hire people. So it's not a big thing. But here's the issue. I do believe that EFF is in a coma. For the next election, they will be in a coma. But it's not the end of them. I think they will rise from that coma after 2026. But they will rise, this is my opinion, they will rise only after 2026. I think Malema's too smart to just die out and fizzle out in the political sphere. He's a wily old cat when it comes to his way around with politics. He has been here before. Don't forget that. And this time he didn't have a base. He didn't have a party. He didn't have party funding. And he managed to build something when he was doing cabbages there. So he managed to rise from that. And whether you like Malema, I don't like Malema. But I'm not going to lie about him. Malema was here before and he was in a better position. So he's going to come up again. It's going to take some time. It's going to come up. MK, the ANC can't stop MK. PA can't stop MK. The DA can't stop MK. What can stop MK is the GNU. Because you see, President Zuma made one mistake. He has built his whole campaign that the GNU is a sellout position. That's what he's done. He tells all in sundry the GNU is a sellout position. Now, if the GNU creates jobs, if the GNU creates opportunities, if the GNU, and people are going to go like, wait a minute, this GNU is not that bad. This GNU is not that bad. Let's give this GNU a chance. And that is what can stop MK. But in the absence of that, I look at them sometimes, I'm like, for me, I thank God every day that I'm not an arrogant person. I look at some of these leaders there and I'm thinking like, do you know MK is going to come? And it's going to be too late. And you think you're going to make the deal with MK. You've put an 80-year-old man in jail. And you think he has forgotten. He's not forgotten. And I'm saying to you, the only way for South Africa, Zuma's coming for his revenge. And he can be stopped. And he must be stopped. And we can stop him. But we can't stop him with attacking each other. I was so annoyed during the State of the Nation address. I'm sitting there and I'm looking at ANC and TA attacking each other there. And EFF clapping and MK clapping. I'm like, look at this one. Once you decide you're part of something, you protect that thing. I had a speech, let me tell you, my first speech in Parliament. I didn't read my first speech in Parliament because the leader of our GNU was under attack. They attacked President Cyril Ramaphosa. So I left my speech And I defended, because that's how I know you should be doing. You should defend your side, even your side is under attack. You can't be going on there trying to sound intellectual, but your side is under attack. So I'm saying to you, if we don't stop, as the GNU, Zuma is coming back, you will say President Zuma in 2029, if the GNU don't stop him. And that's, the problem with South African subjects, you take decisions with your feelings. If you don't like somebody, then that person can never be right in your eyes. I don't like Malema, but I'm telling you what's going to happen. I said to you with Zuma must be stopped. And he's a very calculated man. He's politically one of the smartest people you'll ever meet in your life. I don't think you'll meet somebody smarter politically than Zuma. And he takes his time. And he's healthy. People say Zuma's old. That man is jumping across the stages. So I'm saying that we need to stop him. But us fighting and attacking each other is not going to stop him. We're playing into his hands. Zuma is the threat for the GNU in 2029. So the GNU must now get together, regroup again, as always, and we must go and make sure that we stop President Zuma. Everybody, I believe in this GNU. I'm probably the one person that asks all of, no, come join the progressive force, the progressive caucus. I will never join the progressive caucus. I'm happy in the GNU. And we are going to make this country work. And we are going to make sure that 2029 we put the best person for President of South Africa.
Thank you. That was Mr. Gayton McKenzie, the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, speaking to BizNews. And I'm Christine. Thank you, Gayton.